Yo, what's good people? So in this video I'm going to be going over the 10 absolute must-have champions for Battlegrounds in MCOC. These are champions that every single Celestial, every single competitive Battlegrounds player runs in their deck almost every meta. Keep in mind though, the node changes in Battlegrounds every 2 weeks. Different champions are better for different nodes, but in general you can find these 10 champions in pretty much every top player's Battlegrounds deck almost every season. Before we jump into the video, I have to ask you all a massive favor. Help your boy get to 10k subscribers. We almost there, and that has been my goal since I started this whole YouTube thing. So yeah man, I'd massively appreciate it if we could hit that soon. But without further ado, let's start off the list. At number 10 is Silk. Now, the reason Silk is only at number 10 is she's just not as versatile as the other champions on this list. The fights you can use Silk in, she's one of the fastest nukes in the entire game. She can pretty much nuke most champions, even massive HP champions, chunky opponents like Rintra in a single special too. But she has specific needs. You have to be able to apply debuffs to your opponent. You have to be able to stun them. There's a lot of defenders which Silk can't take, so she can only be put at number 10. But thanks to the fact she can nuke Onslaughts, Enchantress and a few other tricky defenders in 30 seconds or less with a single special too, I think she's still well deserving for a spot on this list. At number 9, we have the Swish Machine, who I thought was Russian, Armin Zola. Now, he would probably be higher up on the list if the Stand Your Ground Mastery didn't exist, because what the Stand Your Ground Mastery does is it basically fucks over Armin Zola's playstyle. His playstyle is you need to spam heavy attacks in the corner. Stand Your Ground will resist your heavy attacks. So in Battlegrounds or Alliance War, you can't really use this guy on attack reliably. But he is still a menace on defense. He hasn't even been out that long, but he has already proved to be one of the strongest and most annoying defenders in the game that requires a very specific counter to take him. You have to be able to knock him down with a heavy attack. Otherwise, you literally get put to sleep and hit in the face. But the problem with Zola is you can't just freely parry him. You need a champion that can either parry non-contact attacks, or you need a champion that can easily land a heavy attack in some other way. But just watch this Bishop nuke right here, bro. This proves that Armin Zola has some crazy potential even for attack in Battlegrounds, but just due to the Stand Your Ground Mastery, he's never going to be a reliable attacker. At least he stays bullying people on defense though. I'm sure Kabam will release a lot more counters to him, a lot more champions that can like heavy attack out of their combo, stuff like that, and maybe in the future he'll be off the list, but for now he is very annoying on defense. Now we're moving on to the number 8 spot, and I know some people are going to be mad at me for this. I know some people are going to hate. All the Silk simps are going to be in the comment, Silk's better than Titania, she nukes fights faster. Yes, Silk does do fights faster than Titania, but Titania can take like double the fights. She is way more versatile than Silk. On top of that, Titania is actually pretty damn underrated on defense. She has one of the biggest health pools in the game, in combination with that haymaker where she goes indestructible, unstoppable and unblockable. She's not hard to fight, but she stalls on defense, and she does get plenty of wins on defense and attack in high tier Battlegrounds. So I do think she's well deserving of this spot over Silk. I do think she's better when Intimidate works, at least. Number 7, Enchantress. Bro, I really did not enjoy getting Enchantress gameplay for this video. She is absolute balls on attack, as we all know. Her damage takes about 1,000 years to ramp up, but that's not the reason she's on the list. Nah. She is probably the most unreliable defender in the game, but in a good way. No, in a bad way. Basically, she can mess up even the most skilled players. She's that type of defender. Even if you have a direct counter to Enchantress, the fight still can go wrong. She can miss your ass 3 times, 4 times in a row, and you get hit in the face. Nothing you can do about it. Yeah, she's just one of the best defenders there is in MCOC right now. She does get nuked occasionally if you get really good RNG with her spells. You can nuke her in 30 seconds. Her health pool isn't that big, but more oftentimes than not, Enchantress does some whole shit, and yeah, she's a very tricky defender to fight. Moving on to the number 6 spot, we have Chad Bones. OG viewers will know exactly why Crossbones is on the list, but for anyone new here, if you watched my Spider-Woman video and you saw me talk about how broken she is because she has that 100% ability accuracy reduction, well, she was actually bugged. Kabam are fixing that pretty much as soon as possible, but you saw me talk about how strong that ability was, right? It had to get nerfed. Crossbones just has that ability. Crossbones actually has that ability, and it's intentional. He shuts off the opponent's defensive ability accuracy by 100%. Do you know what this means? Any ability that the opponent would trigger, so this is stuff like Thing's rock stacks, Nick Fury's tactical charges, Photon's charges. Photon's never going to gain charges against Crossbones, so she'll never go into blue light form. Basically, he shuts off any ability that would trigger when hitting the opponent, as long as he has 4 Fury buffs or 5 Fury buffs against non-hero champions. His utility is ridiculously OP, but on top of that, he has some of the best damage in this game. Honestly, I'm talking myself into moving Crossbones up a slot. He should be in the top 5 for sure. But the reason he's not is it is pretty easy to shut off Crossbones. There are quite a lot of metas that he doesn't work. He's probably the champion on this list that doesn't work in the most metas. All you have to do is make the opponent immune to ability accuracy modification, or put Fate Steel Nullify on a node to nullify all his Fury buffs, and bam, Crossbones is basically useless. And some nodes just make it really hard to play him because you have to stay really aggressive, pausing those Fury buffs. But 9 times out of 10, he's one of the best Battlegrounds champions you can have in your deck. Moving on to the top 5 now, we have the OG king of Battlegrounds, Stark in Hand Spider-Man. Now, Starky was actually the best Battlegrounds attacker for a short while. I wouldn't go that far at the moment, but he's definitely still a top 5 attacker for Battlegrounds, possibly a top 3. He's just so versatile. He doesn't rely on any buffs or debuffs. That power drain he has is much stronger than most people realize. It makes him a great counter to defenders like Photon, Bullseye. The constant taunt which Starky can have on his opponent just makes the fight flow so much better. He can stun lock on top of all this. A lot of defenders he can just stun lock to death with his special 1 and the striker to help. I know Starky was released before Battlegrounds was even a thing, but he feels like he was made to be one of the best Battlegrounds attackers. His utility just feels like it was built for Battlegrounds. And of course, his damage is pretty goddamn insane. We all know this though. We all know how hard Starky can hit. A nice thing to point out though is his ramp up is insanely fast. Yeah, a lot of champions have similar damage to Starky, but not many champions can get that damage as fast as Starky can. He just ramps up so fast. But at our number 4 spot, we have a dual use champion, one of the strongest defenders in the game in Photon. She's mostly here for her value as a defender, but she's really good on attack as well. In most cases, she's just not fast enough, but she has no right being as good on attack as she is, whilst being one of the best defenders in the entire game. There are a lot of attackers that can nuke Photon nowadays, like Starky, like I just shown, Crossbones, Mantis, but if you don't get a good option for her, she is a extremely tough fight, which even if you play perfectly, she's going to stall the match out with you waiting out her pure light form. And if your opponent does get a great counter to her, like one of the skill nukes, just use her on attack. Now, the 3rd spot is a champion I really don't like, and I have banned his ass since he came out in Battlegrounds. Every single Battlegrounds match I have, the first ban I go to is Serpent. I absolutely hate this guy. I hate his stupid face. I hate his stupid design. In my opinion, he's one of the worst designed things in this game. I hate his bullshit power gain. But this isn't supposed to be a rant video, so I have to put my biases aside and talk about how great Serpent is. Gross. But yeah, obviously we all know how strong of a defender Serpent is. If you don't get a good counter to him, you're eating a special free, bro. There's no way around it. You're eating a special free, or you're just going to time out to him because he has about 1 million resistances and he's stupid tanky. He's just a stupid champion in general that doesn't need to exist. Can we please just delete him from the game? Listen though, I'm being 100% real when I say this. If anyone, and I mean anyone at Kabam, is watching this video, do me a massive favor and just remove this 7-star Serpent from my account. I don't want him. He's staying at 7-star, rank 1, level 1 forever. I'm never going to rank him up. If I could sell him for 1 gold, I would do that. But yeah, on top of Serpent being a stupidly overtuned defender, he's pretty great on attack as well. He's far from the fastest champion, but he's got that evade counter, that true strike to counter miss, and he's got that decent burst damage off his specials. He's not a bad attacker, but our number 2 spot is going to Onslaught. I feel like I don't have to explain this one too much. We all know how powerful Onslaught is on both attack and defense. Many of the top players are very used to fighting this guy by now, but he has some of the worst AI in the game, so it's still really easy to mess up to him. And if your opponent does get a great counter to him on defense, once again you can use him on attack. But Onslaught is actually pretty damn fast on attack, especially if you get good RNG with the neuroshocks on your basic attacks. Before we talk about our number 1 spot though, we have to go through the honorable mentions, and there's actually quite a lot. We have 7. Should I have just made a top 15 list? Probably. It's too late for that now though. Now Bastion would 100% be on this list. The only problem with him is literally no one has him unless you're a massive whale. He's only just come out. How can he be a must-have champion if no one has him? But bro, he's so good. He literally hard counters Onslaught, Bullseye, Arminzola, some of the trickiest defenders in the game. His utility is great. He's a good defender. His damage is amazing. All round, just a great champion. And honestly, if I make another video like this, he will probably be in the top 3 or at least the top 5 the next one. The next honorable mention is Spider-Woman. Now she was bugged when I made a video on her. She does not reduce the opponent's ability accuracy by 100%. It is supposed to be 30%, but even with that, she is still a great champion, a hard enchantress counter, very versatile, has great damage, great utility, and is a pretty strong defender on top of that. So I do think she has potential to make it on the list, but she's even newer than Bastion. Absolutely no one has this champion. Even if you're a mega whale, you probably don't have this champion because there wasn't even a opportunity to buy her yet. But yeah, I could definitely see her making it onto the next list. Deadpool X-Force is probably a champion that many thought would be on this list, but you've probably seen some out of context clips of Deadpool. Yeah, he's insane in the metas which boost special attack damage because the bleeds will go absolutely crazy. In most metas though, he doesn't have that absolutely insane damage. He doesn't just nuke defenders with a single special one. Don't get it wrong though, he's still great, but most of the time his rotation is a special 2 into a special 1, and a lot of other champions have the same sort of rotation, the same sort of speed, but Deadpool makes it onto the honorable mentions because no one is immune to his bleach boost. So he's really versatile, great champion, not as OP as many people think though. Don't let them out of context clips fool you. His special 1 doesn't just nuke anything in the game. But for the next honorable mention is Sasquatch. If I made this video like a couple months ago, Sasquatch would be on a higher end of the top 10 list, but he's seen a bit of a fall off recently. There's just so many OP science attackers that can nuke Sasquatch extremely fast, even despite him having the biggest health pool in the game and despite him having all the damage reduction. He's really fell off on defense, but he can still be a decent stall, and he's still really good on attack. You know, if you get good crit RNG with this guy, he's super fast, but I thought I needed to mention him because once upon a time, Sasquatch was one of the most valuable Battlegrounds champions there was. And the next honorable mention is someone a lot of people is probably very surprised not to see on the list. Domino. Now, she's seen a massive fall off similar to Sassy because there's just so many more tech attackers that's been introduced that can counter Domino. A lot more people are running a lot more Domino counters, and on top of that, there's even non-tech champions that can counter Domino that people are figuring out. I've shown people how to counter her with Longshot. People have figured out how to counter her with Deathless Thanos. There's just so many counters to her now that it's kind of hard to trap people with Domino, and she's famously unreliable on attack. Sure, you can get a 30-second fight with her, but that's like 1 out of 10 matches. Most of the time, you see the first hit of the special 2 there, which did no damage. That's what you're getting most of the time with Domino. Don't expect a massive crit bleed because it's rare that happens. We have another honorable mention due to a fall off on defense, Bullseye, and I bet a lot of you thought you would never see the day where Bullseye is falling off on defense, but bro, Bullseye, Onslaught, Starkey, Jean Grey, Dazzler, there's so many great counters to Bullseye now that most people run in their Battlegrounds deck, and honestly, in my opinion, when more people get their hands on Bastion, that's going to make Bullseye almost irrelevant because Bastion like hard counters Bullseye. He gets regeneration against him and everything. It's hard not to finish that fight at 100% health. So honestly, bro, I think the top players are going to be taking Bullseye out of their Battlegrounds deck at some point soon. And for the last honorable mention, we have Nova. Why? Because he's my favorite champion, and F you, right? It's my list. I can put who I want on it, so Nova's getting put on the list. I'm not biased enough to actually put him in the top 10, but he can go in the honorable mentions. Now, but for real though, Nova is actually genuinely great. He counters Bullseye, he counters Atuma thanks to his non-contact attack, so he doesn't take thorns damage. He can counter a lot of tricky defenders, Deathless Thanos as well. I could go on. His damage is fantastic, especially if you get good crit RNG, and he can be a pretty annoying defender on top of that, but he's mostly here just because I love him. For the number 1 spot, I'm sure none of you are surprised at this. Deathless Thanos, he was worth all the hype, all the work Kabam made us do to get this champion, because yeah, he's one of the most insane defenders for Battlegrounds just because of his stall capabilities. I really love his design as a defender because his protection is designed in a way where it stops pretty much all of the regular Battlegrounds nukes from nuking him. Most champions cannot take Thanos in under 60 seconds. He's a insane defender in high tier Battlegrounds, pretty much a automatic draft even if your opponent has a ideal counter. On top of that, he's insane on attack as well. He ramps up super fast. He's really versatile. His damage is great. He counters random champions like Domino and Serpent. Yeah, we all know how good Deathless Thanos is. He's easily the best Battlegrounds champion in the game right now, in my opinion. He's probably one of the best champions in the game in general. But that's going to be the end of the video, fellas. If you did enjoy it, if you found it helpful, you know what to do. I'd appreciate if you drop a like, subscribe, all of that stuff. See you all in the next video.